Hi guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be discussing about the foreign residency requirement, or section 212E. I want to take this opportunity and say thank you for sharing your experiences, and thanks for sharing, Maria Fernanda, and congratulations for your green card. I want to say good luck to some of you, to Kevin and Anya, to Limeria, to Enkai and your husband. I wish you all good luck for the interview, and fingers crossed. I hope you guys are going there prepared, and yeah, and it's going to be successful. I also want to say that I'm doing this video to respond to Olia specifically, and some of you that had questions about the section 212E, because this is very important. So I'm going to just backtrack and tell you my story. First of all, I want to say that I'm not a lawyer. Like I always say at the beginning of every video, I have not studied law, but I do want to share my experience. I don't recommend you guys do what I do. It just maybe it helps you. Because, you know, when I was applying for the green card the first time, I actually went and did 2 consultations with 2 different lawyers and try to check the pricing. And I know they do hard work. They write the papers, they call, they make sure everything is filled in, they stay on top of things. So they do a lot of work, and they do deserve to be just paid for their work. It's just at the time, for me, it didn't feel feasible to pay $4,500. So I decided to do my own paperwork. And that's why I want to share my story. Maybe some of you feel very confident and you like to read, do research, and you're just a little bit scared because you hear all these rumors that, you know, if you don't have a lawyer to represent you, then you will get denied, or you will have to have penalties because you filled out the paperwork wrong. I want to just reassure you that it is not as hard as you hear it. But if you feel confident, and if you do speak English and you understand it, then it will be no problem for you to do your own file. So section 212E is a foreign residency requirement, which means that if you have this section, you will have to go to your home country for 2 years before you can come back to America. So even if you get married or anything that happens, if you have this section and it's not waived, you cannot stay in the country. Basis. There are 5 bases for waiving this foreign residency requirement, and I'm going to read them from their website. And I highly recommend you go into travelstate.gov, where you can have all the information. This is the website that I use. They pretty much have everything here. The 5 bases are no objection statement, request by an interested U.S. federal government agency, persecution, exceptional hardship to a U.S. citizen, and a request by a designated state public health department or equivalent. And I'm just briefly going to explain each basis, because you might not be in the basis that I was in. So that will be helpful for you to also, if you comply with the requirements from 2 or 3 bases, and maybe you want to take the easiest one to get. So the no objection statement is the one that I went with. This basis states that if your home country has no issue with you going back, then the ministry in your home government can write a letter to the U.S. To the USCIS explaining that there's no need, there's no requirement for you to come home. They basically let you go, and you can be in America for as long as you need to.
And that is why I love America.
Is the easiest waiver to get. This is where I applied for. Then the request by an interested U.S. federal government agency. And this is more for people who work for a government project that is either related to the military, or maybe you are a teacher, so you are very dependable in the education system in America, or anything like that, that is government agency. This agency can just release a waiver for you, basically. Persecution, this basis is much more related to politics, to sex, or a religion discrimination. So if you are being discriminated in your home country, is some sort of related to the asylum, the political or religious asylums. The next basics is exceptional hardship to a U.S. citizen. So if you have kids in America, or if you have a husband, if you have a family here, and you have to go back to fulfill this requirement, and your family can be with you and grow together, that is a hardship directly to the U.S. citizen, and you can waive this section. Request by designated state public health department or its equivalent. And this basis is applicable to you if you are a foreign medical graduate who obtained exchange visitor status to pursue graduate medical training or education. You have to have a full-time employment for this basis. So this is pretty much an overview of these bases. Now, I don't know the specifics of each one of them. The only thing that I know and that I tried is the no objection statement. This is the easiest one to get, like I said. It wasn't actually very hard to obtain. You have to know that as long as you get your papers, you apply them, you apply correctly, likely it is that you will get this requirement waived. And I highly recommend you start doing it from the beginning of your arrival here. For example, I arrived here in 2016 for a 1-year internship. And when I arrived here, I decided I need to waive this because I figured maybe I want to stay a little longer to visit, or maybe I want to apply for an H-1B visa. I really liked America because I've been here before, and yeah, I just wanted to make sure there's nothing keeping me from trying to stay. So what I did was I researched, I went online to travelstate.gov, and I just read under the section no objection statement. Went there and I saw what are the paperwork necessary, what is the process to apply for waiving it. And it's actually not complicated. You will have to fill out document DS 3035, and you have to fill out the form DS 3035, and you will have to attach your first page of your passport, your visa page. On the visa page at the bottom, you will have there section 212E. You will have at the bottom section 212E applies. So you will know you have it. Check when you get your J1 visa if you have this section and try to waive it right away. Then you will have to go to your government and try to ask them to waive this requirement to the Americans. So if you want to stay here more, if there's a need for a company for you to be here, you can use that. I worked for an interior design company that was so nice to me, and they wrote this letter that they need me to work there, and I am an important part of their process, and they would have to suffer if I would just leave at the end of the internship. They might want to do an H-1B with me, or extend the internship. So they were very nice. They gave me that letter. Other than that, I had to have a letter from a ministry from Romania. So this basically, this letter goes automatically to USCIS. So a designated ministry in your home government issues the no objection statement. Then they send it to U.S. Chief of Mission, Consular Section, and U.S. Embassy in your country, respectively Romania for me. And then the U.S. Embassy would forward this statement to the Waiver Review Division. That's where the final decision is going to take place. And in order to obtain, you're going to be asking, well, how do I obtain this paper for, how do I convince the government, right, to just have no objection? So one of the main things is you have to make sure you have not received a scholarship that has been covered by the government, or you haven't received any government benefits that would basically, which would be an investment in your person. So if the government invests in you and your program or your education to come to America, and then you just decide, oh, I don't want to share my experience going back to my home country. I just want to stay in America. It doesn't work like that. You have received this this financial help from your home country to provide some value. And the value you're going to provide is your sharing your experience, just executing work in your home country. So if you have not received any benefits, like I haven't, you will write that in your letter. You'll say there's nothing to hold me back to come back. I don't have to fulfill any obligations. Then you would request to extend your stay. And this is pretty much it. If you go online, you'll see there's a list of documents there. After you submit all these papers, you wait. I waited, I think, around 2 months. And then I received this letter in the mail. The famous letter. And it says, case type, I-612, application to waive foreign residence requirements. And notice type, approval. So I have been approved for the waiver. Once you have this paper in hand, no matter what happens, you can't lose it. You can't lose the original. And just in case you will, take the photo. Have a digital copy of it. And no matter what happens, try not to lose this paper. Even 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I don't know. I was required to have it in my green card interview. The officer asked me when I had the interview with my husband if I have waived this section. So the officer actually asked for my passport, and I handed her the passport, and she sees that I had visa J1, and at the bottom says apply section 212E. My first visa, 2010. Bearer is not subject to section 212E. That's what you get when you don't have the section applied to you. When you do, it will look like this. See, bearer is subject to section 212E, 2-year rule does apply Romania. So once, even if this visa is expired a long time ago, when the officer saw this, she just looked at it and just looked very serious at me, kind of like something bad happened. And I asked her, is everything okay? She asks, well, you have section 212E. You're subject to the home residency requirement. And I said, yeah, and I have the waiver for that. And she just immediately just calms down, and it's like, oh, this serene. She says, do you do? And I showed it to her. So this will save you. If I would not have had this paper, the process would have been slower, a lot. So you keep it. This is golden. And that's pretty much what I did. I will put the link below in the description box. That's where you can go look up all the papers you need. Of course, your case will be a lot different than mine. You will not have to put the same documents as I did. I just explained what was my experience. So I hope this video was helpful. If you want to find out more about what happens to the life of the immigrant after the green card arrives and after the work authorization is in hand and everything, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.